Swarm Squad. Let's take down these locusts.
Kill the savage boomers. Hilarious in hindsight.
Because they explode and go boom!
And we introduce a new type of locust. The locust that can send bombs through underground. Interesting.
Bugs Bunny style. So all those bombs were sure to get the wrong turn out perk.
I didn't know the villains. I didn't know the villains were the Acme group.
It's always the Acme group groups.
I wonder which one of us is going to handle the Looney Tunes Back in Action video game.
Well, remember, Driz, the locusts are desperate at this point, so they decide to use Acme technology as a last resort.
Oh, that reminds me, Pedro. You still handling Bugs Bunny? Lost in time for the channel.
Yes.
All right.
I have you know the best PS1 emulator, EPSXE.
ESPXE.
Yeah, I have it on my shield.
So, what do you record? Oh, wait, let me guess. You record the monitor with your Elgato.
Well, obviously, yeah. That's usually what I do.
I use my Elgato for everything.
Even your PlayStation 1?
Yes.
Well, the PS1, you can record Elgato the PS1, Joe. We just have to use a component cable.
This is also probably with Jova why we got those lines at for the first couple of parts of Unholy War.
Now that was some sort of weird glitch. After that, I got around it, and so far, I haven't recorded it in months because I'm busy doing other things. I haven't had that in Little Witchy Mischiefs yet, so.
The only real issue, Jove, is that of course YouTube is very, very specific at what kind of resolutions it allows you to display in 60 FPS.
Yeah.
That's why most of the time it's a good idea to try to see if you can upscale the image to 720.
Oh yeah, that's usually like my default one that I usually do. 720, 60.
There is a 480p 60 on YouTube, but it has to be a very specific resolution, like down to the pixel. Like, it's just so incredibly ridiculously specific. YouTube should just, YouTube, since you like changing for no reason, here's a change you could do. Allow 60 FPS for every resolution.
I'm sorry, Pedro, we were literally too busy removing the HD label from the 720p format. Not even...
Because 720 is no longer considered HD for some
No, I get it, but here's a good question, legitimately good question. Who cares?
Not only that, but 720 is still considered HD by general standards here. Like, you'd be surprised. There are a lot of people who just settle for 720 as opposed to 1080 or, God forbid, the new 4K or now the new trend of 8K.
Not to mention. So you're telling me that 720p is now SD, even though officially outside of YouTube, no one recognizes it as SD.
Seriously.
It's just moronic.
Regardless, it's just a pointless thing to do.
You know, guys, are we just all very old for being able to remember the times when YouTube changes were actually good?
Jove, I'm pretty sure back then I didn't even have a beard at the time.
Wow, I mean, it's just, man, YouTube. Okay, YouTube is like Disney, but worse. Because, like Disney, they have a lack of competition, which allows them to do whatever, because they have a monopoly on a lot of stuff here.
Well, remember, Joe, it all went to shit when Google bought them.
Yeah.
Google is to YouTube what Microsoft is to Gears, basically.
Well, didn't Microsoft own Gears from the get-go?
No, they didn't. It started out as an Epic Games franchise.
Once again, Jova, remember, Jova, it got to a point where after Gears 3, and before, well, I think around the time of Judgment, but even so before that, there were even rumors floating around that Sony potentially could have acquired the IP. Basically, they turned into nothing, but...
I can explain. Cool. Alright, basically we can use the Siege Beast, which is basically a Locust Catapult. There we go.
Bombs away!
But yeah, I can actually explain this because I actually know this from the people that I've... basically, Jova, after Gears of War Judgment, which came out in 2013 as the last game on the 360, Epic Games knew that these games were only going to get more and more expensive to produce moving forward. So they were planning on dropping it entirely, commanded by the Cliff Blazinski at Epic at that point, so the series was left without a creative leader. So at the time, Epic was just considering just stopping making Gears games altogether. However, when Phil Spencer took over Xbox, he decided to buy the Gears IP.
All right, people, let's find him. I need Prescott alive.
I see. Huh. Okay, so in that case, it sounds like you...
That's actually one of the sad
Oh,
things
I
about
get it. I get it. So it's all like Crash Bandicoot. Despite people thinking that Sony owned Crash, no. They actually just had an exclusive contract, and if stuff had gone slightly different,
Sort
other
of, Jova,
companies...
but keep in mind there wasn't a third-party publisher involved with it, unlike with Crash but at Universal.
Well, let's not forget... Well, Tio, let's not forget, Naughty Dog were not owned by Sony at the time.
No, but that's what they mean, Joe. Remember, even the things that you hear in the introduction of Crash still is both Sony's name, but also Universal, which were the actual owner of the IP back then. The
that's
Universal
what you mean by
Gaming
third.
Division, exactly.
That's
When it came
what you mean by third party.
when it comes to Gears, Microsoft was still the publisher back then. They just didn't own the IP in its full entirety.
No, they didn't have control of it. In fact, remember, the original Gears of War did come out on PC back in 2006. It was only later when Microsoft decided to give Epic Games a bit extra money to keep it exclusive to the freezer.
Just checking again,
Jesus.
but the I guess I have to call it remakes, seeing as how that's the only game that really fits
The
that
Ultimate
stupid
Edition.
title. Yeah, the Ultimate Edition. That one still had, the nice fidelity on the gore, didn't it?
Yes. Well, remember, Joe, but it was basically just the same game, but prettier. Like, the only real major overhaul was the cutscenes, really.
True, yeah, so I guess that would explain it. But yeah, I mean, I guess, going off of what we know, it would probably be wiser to chalk it more on the studio than the executives. If only because the gore is still technically there. If it were up to the executives, they probably would have just gotten rid of the gore altogether, because you know how executives like to think. It's usually pretty much throw out everything, including the baby with the bathwater.
I guess maybe, but that's just the thing, Jova. Microsoft never actually had an IP that was created by their own internal studios. Even
True,
Halo.
yeah, even Halo technically was not.
Halo. They also bought Halo because if you look back, Halo 1 and 2 did come out on PC back in the day. Not day one. They were originally exclusive, but they did have later PC versions.
Shame
did
you can't
Blink?
get them on Steam.
Who did what?
What studio did Blinks?
Oh, Blinks was Naoto Oshima's studio in Japan. They had an actual exclusive to the console contract with those. Not so much with Bungie at the time.
Oh my god, that corpse!
I just needed to know what studio was behind it anyway, because again, what you just mentioned. So that begs the question: what games did the Microsoft internal studios back then did?
They didn't have any internal studios at the time too. In fact, it was not until Phil Spencer started buying these studios that they
Oh boy.
I'm out.
that they had.
Dom, give me a hand. Press down here and hold it.
I'll finish.
Don't expect too much conversation. One lung's collapsed, his chest cavity's filling up.
How are you feeling in this very particular moment?
Hear me?
I'm dying, you prick.
Wait, Admiral Zhao, what are you doing here?
Where's my goddamn phone?
that line.
Does he look us? I can't really hear very well. Does he sound like Jason Isaac?
No, I just for the look. Well, teeth aside.
Hold on.
Queen Mira.
Queen Mira. That's the Locust.
Damn you, where's Azura?
Marcus, come on.
Where are they?
Encryption.
So in his last moments, he will finally do right by us.
Bastard. Furious.
Honk. Go rest, ye whatever you are, gentlemen.
Of all the souls I've encountered in my travel,
Maybe there's
his
something-
was the most.
sleazy. Let's go sleazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he died doing what was right, giving us a disc.
Gargling.
Oh yeah, we have to find Colonel Hoffman.
Look, Hoffman's been hanging on to that data disk he stole from Prescott back on Vectis. All those
Continuity.
goddamn months I spent trying to crack the encryption for him, we still didn't have a friggin' clue what was on it. Well, I bet it's the data on Azura, and that unlocks it. We have to get it to Hoffman and crack that disk.
He's at Anvil Gate. That's a hell of a long journey, Marcus.
Would it be the first time we've taken a long venture? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We
All right, and this is all right.
on the road again.
I can't
Alright,
wait
and
to get on
now-
the road again.
That's okay. That's okay. We've taken down plenty of locusts before. This should be relatively.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, to finish what I was saying, that's the thing too. Microsoft never actually owned Bungie. They never actually owned Epic Games. They never actually.
Not even Lionhead Studios.
Let me check. Actually,
The
that's a
thing
good
about
point.
Microsoft back in the day, too, is like, well, they were very
Didn't
much...
they purchased Rare almost immediately?
I do think that is true. Yeah.
No, okay, not entirely immediately, but yeah, basically Microsoft as a game studio, you know, when they were starting out, they were constantly on the hunt for stuff here and there.
I forgot about Rare. Yeah.
Pleasant.
Oh, yeah.
Burr.
Big sip from my outtake.
Microsoft buying Rare is...
They were only acquired by Microsoft in 2005. By that point, we already had one Fable
The
game.
third Fable. Okay.
You know,
Which, yeah, I think the first Fable actually got a PC release.
you know, I'll never forget, some of the Microsoft execs literally thought they were gonna own Donkey Kong by buying Rare.
Yeah. Okay. Let me rephrase that too. What I mean.
Whoa.
Oh shit.
Of
Hey, buddy, you weren't mad about us possibly mutating your brother in the last game, are you?
course. It's like
Anyway.
that joke in SpongeBob. Are there any more Brumak that I should know the existence of?
Let me rephrase that too. What I mean is that they never had a studio that was founded by them. Like
Yeah, one that they had right from the get-go, like when they founded everything.
they never actually grown their own talent. They just bought talent. You know.
I think Sony at the very least when they started had this Japan studio from the get-go.
Well, yeah, and remember, Medieval was made by Sony Computer Entertainment Europe. So it was.
Yeah, Sony
European,
had
right?
when Sony started, they did have like at least one or two studio under their belts.
They did, yeah.
Microsoft, not so much. But, you know, to give them credit,
How bizarre!
to give them credit, they did manage to strike quite a few good deals. Like, you know, there was Halo.
Oh no, certainly. It's just that again, it kind of reflects things on the big picture. The fact that Microsoft essentially just entered the scene like sneakily in. I guess capitalizing on the downfall of the Dreamcast, in order to fill in the power vacuum.
Not just that, you know, it's pretty much, and even Bill Gates, I think, flat out admitted this in a later interview. One of the main reasons why Bill Gates decided to enter, at the time he was still in charge of the company, one of the main reasons why Bill Gates decided to enter the console business was because the PlayStation 2 was making so much money. And remember, Sony is one of their big competitors, even before the Xbox was a thing. So he wanted, you know, to get in on the whole
And
Jesus,
boom.
we literally, Jesus Christ, that's a pile of gore.
Oh, I thought
let's move
for a
out.
second there, I thought the whole planet blew up.
This is all I can recover.
I've tried to contact you over the years, but I've been held prisoner at Azura since Prescott abducted Azura. Keep your mind on the emulsion countermeasure. That's all that matters. I've been at Azura since Prescott abducted me from the estate. Prescott abducted me. Prescott abducted me.
Prescott.
God
damn him!
Okay, Marcus, Jesus Christ, they will have
Who
to
was
take you on the
Prescott again?
computer.
Prescott's a slime ball.
Well, the one who died.
Now we go see Hoffman.
Okay, so
Sam,
so now we're supposed
you're
to
gonna
think of
investigate
Prescott
what's
as
the
a
quickest route.
scumbag again, even though we
No,
just
no,
saw
Across
him.
the Deadlands.
We're always supposed to think he's a scumbag. It's just that he's
Just
finally
give us
doing some
directions,
stuff to
Sam.
redeem himself.
You and I
Does
stay
not
here
mean we're
with
supposed to
Carmine
stop
and Jason
hating.
supervise the
Yeah,
South.
the very next thing we
Marcus,
hear
we'll
him
catch up with you
involved
when
in
the
is
situation's
kidnapping
under
this
control.
guy's dad.
Okay.
Well, Dwibs, here's the thing.
Okay.
Just because
Good
somebody
luck.
does something good
Come
doesn't
on.
undo
We've
their
got a long walk
actions.
ahead of us. Let's
Exactly.
get going.
It's nice to see a story that actually recognizes that and doesn't try and go, oh, he was a hero all along, right from the get-go there without any good reason.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I
we
guess,
kinda left
I
a
guess
bit of a
that
mess.
That piece of machine decided to collapse at that moment.
It's like, okay, they're gone. I'm done now.
Cliff thought it would be a cool way to end the cutscene.
House of Sand.
It's a barge.
Looks like the one we shot
Alright,
down earlier.
did you notice how big Act 1 was compared to previous games, Act 1s? Like, we're only in Part 5, and we're in Part 5, and only now we're doing Act 2.
I
Act
Those
2.
choppers.
Mm-hmm.
Little creeps can't leave
Well,
anything
that's
alone.
an interesting thing. Act 1 is by
Yeah,
far the
imagine
longest
rooting
Act
around
1 in the
looking for
entire
parts all the
franchise.
time.
However,
They make
now that
intelligent
Act 2
use of free
started, now the game will go
resources.
back to
That's
the
how come we're
typical
still
pacing
alive
we're
to
used
bitch
to,
about it.
where
Come
the
on.
acts will
The
have
Locust
about the
must
same
have
length
more of
as
these
the
gas
previous games.
barges.
I guess
Act
the
1,
game
for some
just
reason,
wanted.
Act 1, on the other hand, is quite large, as we just saw.
I guess we just wanted to have a strong opening, and
Yeah.
we just nicked in also Cole's characterization just because we could.
Alright, so we're gonna do what we do best, guys. Steal one of their rides and take the keys with it.
Baird, what are you doing? Oh,
There you go.
Hey, it has the Xbox symbol on it.
When we hijack the barge, let me drive. I
Cute.
think I've got a way to control it. It's all yours, Baird.
I also can imagine one of the reasons behind Microsoft wanted to enter the scene is because by that point there were literally no major console making companies outside of Japan. So I guess he wanted to put the West into the scene.
Well, Tio, let's not forget, there was stuff like the Neo Geo and Atari.
SNK and Atari also was. Wasn't Atari also?
Wait, isn't SNK Japanese, though?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm talking about Atari mainly when it comes to
Wasn't well, I actually don't remember. Wasn't Atari Japanese too?
No, Atari is
No.
American, too.
Oh, okay.
Remember, Tio, Activision was formed from employees from Atari.
Well, I guess, but I thought it was like the American division of Atari.
No.
Atari was, you know, it's a Western company.
Japan,
Okay, then.
Japan only became a prominent force in the gaming industry after the American
The game
crash.
crash. Okay.
Hey, Tio, EA once had their own console too at some point.
So I can't imagine what that could have been.
It was the console that had plumbers don't wear ties.
Yeah, the Panasonic.
What was it? You have
Well,
to do.
actually,
you
yeah,
have
no,
to-
never mind. Never mind, Joe. Wasn't that the Panasonic 3DO, actually? I
I'm
think it
trying
was
to-
Panasonic, actually.
I'm
I'm
trying
pretty
to
sure
remember.
the 3DO was Panasonic. Let me check.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it was
is
called the 3DO. What I remember is that it was incredibly expensive. Like,
Is it?
Well, just like the
a
Philips CGI.
a Jover.
what?
If EA made a console, it'd be like those TVs you used to have in hotels where you have to put in €2 or £2 just to watch half an hour.
Oh, never mind. I see why Jova made that confusion. The console, the 3DO, was developed by the 3DO company, which was conceived by the Electronic Arts founder, but he wasn't the head of Electronic Arts at the time.
Isn't that when
There you
Need for Well, didn't Need for Speed, an EA series, make its debut on that?
I actually don't know. Let me check.
But to continue, yeah, it's the same thing with Forza. Playground Games only got bought by Microsoft when Phil took over. They were making Forza for Microsoft.
Okay, to give them credit, buying that company was probably a good call, seeing as how Forza is a darling.
No, Joe,
Yes.
I can tell you that Xbox fans, of all the studios that Microsoft currently has, the one they most appreciate is Playground Games, because they're the only studio of all the ones that Microsoft owns right now who's not constantly tweeting about themselves eating cakes or whatever. Like, well, here's the thing, Jova. There's kind of a suspicion around the studio culture when it comes to Microsoft studios, because they're constantly posting on Twitter about any kind of free time they're having, like they're eating cake or they're doing whatever. Whereas Playground Games is the only one who never tweets about that stuff and just stays focused on tweeting about the work.
Huh.
To see that we're not having been crunch.
Ah, yes. Rebuff any suspicions of crunch time. Mm-hmm.
There we are.
Yes.
Anyway, as I was saying, I just checked. Need for Speed did come out on 3DO.
Yeah.
Yes, I checked just now, Dibs. Yes, it had also a 1-year exclusivity deal because the next release was exactly 1 year later in 1995 on the PC.
MS-DOS.
What a shock.
And then in March 96 it came out on PlayStation, and Saturn in June, July, and Windows.
But yeah, like I was saying, like Playground Games would tweet stuff like about their open world RPG that they're making, which pretty much already knows it's Fable because it's been leaked. A Fable 4, it seems.
Oh yeah, Fable 4. I mean, okay, I gotta wait. Playground Games are the ones working on Fable 4.
Remember, Java, Lionhead Studios have been officially disbanded.
Well, yeah, I mean, after how bad Fable 3 was.
Mind you, but it's a problem, Java. Remember, Java.
Journey, actually.
Yeah, they were also making a new Fable. Remember, Java, those banners they were showing Marcus Phoenix head alongside with Lara Croft, because Microsoft had their temporary exclusivity deal for Rise of a Tomb Raider, Master Chief, Forza car, and the supposed protagonist of the new Fable game that unfortunately was cancelled alongside the closure of Lionhead Studios. There was also the protagonist of the Phantom Dust new game that was later retooled into the remake of the first game, which turned out to be mediocre at best and was basically became free to play.
Figures.
The basic gist of it is that Xbox fans are quite baffled by how these studios all they do is tweet about their breaks and their coffee breaks and shit, whereas Playground Games doesn't do any of that and actually talks about what they're doing on their Twitter. So
anyway, I'm sorry.
So there's this, and combined with the fact that Microsoft doesn't show anything about what their studios are making, we still have no idea what the initiative is making. It kind of creates this uncertainty among the fan base. But go ahead.
Yeah. Regarding the 3DO, EA actually were a thing along with that. Here's the thing. Get this. Apparently Hawkins actually stepped down as EA CEO just to apparently, help out with the 3DO stuff. Basically to found the now defunct 3DO company. So essentially the 3DO thing was sort of made as a joint partnership deal with EA. It was basically sort of like a deal where Hawkins would quote-unquote step down as president of EA, CEO in that case, give it to Larry Probst, and then the 3DO company was made. So then they could make a mint off of basically having the 3DO company, which would have some helpful backing from EA, and it was sure to be a masterpiece company that would sweep away the competition. That is until the PlayStation pretty much showed it up.
And then the era gone to just make games for PlayStation.
And to be fair, it's also important to remember that the EA of that time was a very different.
Yeah.
It was an EA with ideas and a soul, but even it's funny though. The 3DO.
Well, they weren't perfect. I mean, they did release Shaq Fu.
True.
Although Shaq Fu did get a Shaq Fu the sequel, and I'm ever so grateful.
Well, Jova, way later on, Dweez is talking about those days.
I mean, I have a soft spot for that game, but it's still a bad game.
Although it's funny though how the 3DO, you know, incredibly expensive console with incredibly money-grubbing tactics sort of represents what EA would become. It's kind of haunting when you think about it. And though to this day,
I don't know, Jova. I seriously thought the EA of today would be creative to literally have a fighting game starring Shaquille O'Neal. That's the kind of insane creativity that you wouldn't get from current EA, to be honest.
I'm talking about the 3DO as a console, not the games that it had on it.
Oh,
Although you gotta wonder, where's our beloved remake of Plumbers Don't Wear Ties? The people demand it, EA. Don't forget your roots.
I don't think EA owned the rights to that.
Whatever, Joe, but you can play that on YouTube.
Wait a minute, there are actually rights to that.
Pedro, annotations have not been a thing for a long time now.
Oh right! YouTube got rid of annotations!
So any of those choose your own adventure games are on YouTube are kinda fucked because of that.
Thanks for nothing, YouTube. You've ruined Plumbers Don't Wear Ties.
I'm not sure how this is news to you.
I keep forgetting that YouTube implements these stupid updates because there's so many to keep track of.
Well, if it helps you, Jova, the 3DO is incredibly easy to emulate nowadays.
Of course.
Even so, I'm pretty sure an entire long play of a game is not like that long, and we're like a single video on YouTube that encompasses everything.
Oh no! If you pick all the correct choices, that game is like 30 minutes long. So.
Complete with a all in still frames epic conclusion.
What was with the obliquous camera angle from the start?
To show things are about to get tough,
Notice my directing?
I guess.
But yeah, I think like Tio said, part of me has to wonder if part of the reason all those other companies are tweeting about their free time, and I don't want to sound cynical, but considering how that has kind of been a topic of recent quite a bit, if maybe it's to stave off any suspicions of crunch time being a factor.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with with people tweeting about that kind of stuff. That's not the issue. Well, the problem is that, okay, we see them. The only real news we're getting from what the initiative is doing is how awesome their breaks are, their coffee breaks are. We don't. Where's the game that they're supposed to be making?
It's like, you know, I mean, you want to show us your free time, that's fine, but just let us know that. And okay, you could say, oh, well, you know, it's not all just about their work, but that's the thing, though. It's like, I mean, we're not exactly their blooming friends, like, you know. It's not like we're paying money to see their social life and whatnot. I hate to sound, you know, greedy as some people who like to defend crappy customs may accuse me of, but hey, that's the thing though. It is perfectly fine for us consumers to be concerned about, you know, franchises that we may hold beloved and dear to us and where exactly they're going, or if they're concluding. Because trust me, a franchise that's going good but just out of nowhere stops, that has happened quite a few times, and it's never pretty when it does.
Not to mention, Microsoft is in a state right now where they have a lot to prove. So they don't. So let's say for example, if it was Naughty Dog doing this on their Twitter, like Sony is not in a point where they need to prove that their first party is capable of delivering a good influx of great games. So they don't have that problem. Microsoft, on the other hand, they don't have that luxury. They do have a lot to prove.
You know, I think another good example is Sakurai. Hell, Sakurai is a guy people actually do want to hear more about his break time because the man has shown tirelessly, well, maybe not tirelessly,
well,
but
that's the thing, Joe. During one of his break times, he actually got injured because of that.
Yeah, like, again, with Nintendo, we know that they are definitely working to give us the best quality whatsoever. To the point
and
where
you also have to remember once again, Joe, about the difference in. Oh, Jesus, so much ammo. Yeah, oh, the goddamn it, game.
The game's right there with you, Tio.
Get out. No, but Oh god, my final
Tio,
thought.
we're not doing that movie yet.
Well, look at the bright side, too. At least it's not
No,
invading
no,
the
no,
personal
hold on,
space, like you said with
hold on,
Regiment
hold
SCWRM it was.
hold on, hold on. And what I was saying, actually, forgot.
You were
You said-
talking
you
about
said get out.
Nintendo, Sakurai, and
Yeah,
their work
thank
ethic.
you. There's the difference in how Japan and the West they conceptualize work, workload,
Yeah.
how much needs to be done and all.
Still, though, I mean,
Forced
even
entry.
although to be fair, the compliments do
Forced.
Rebuild anywhere they can.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird to see them up here strolling around. They ain't the kind for a day at the beach.
Seems like
Maybe
they've
they
got
have
themselves
break
a new
time.
home. They must be excavating the whole area.
Jesus.
Hey,
Don't
that
worry,
barn
guys.
looks
They're
like
just
it's
building a
set
new
down.
utopia for their
Anyone up for
species.
a hijack?
That
Yeah.
probably could be
First
bad
class to
news for
Amblegate.
us.
Let's do it.
Okay, if they attack us first while they're building a new utopia, then they're fair game.
They kind of have attacked us.
I meant these particular ones building the new utopia.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, with Nintendo, that even applies to their American division, which, granted, probably takes word from the Japanese one. But yeah, it is a bit funny with Microsoft. Again, they've got quite a bit to prove in the 9th generation.
We'll see. In the meantime,
Hope
see you
the
for the
best.
next part.
See ya.
Ja.